internally, and I know you guys have gotten a little bit of an introduction to that, and I've been happy to hear that you guys have been pretty impressed with that. But for all of our drivers, our active ATS drivers, and any driver that's out there, I can't stress enough the gratitude that we've got for you and what you do and the career that you've chosen. So happy Driver Appreciation Week. Stay safe. Try to have a little bit of fun. Try to squeeze as much as you can out of anybody that'll give you something special today. And so, again, happy Driver Appreciation Week. So today's topic was really going to be on driver appreciation, and I'm decided because of the amount of drivers that we had volunteering to come in and join us tonight, we're going to kind of focus this a little bit more about their decision-making process of selecting where they came to work for, and what their experience has been since they've joined ATS and the orientation process. So I'm going to let you guys. Who wants to go first?
Mike does.
I'll take it, I guess.
Okay, so Mike, I'd asked you two questions when we were chatting earlier of what was that number one thing, differentiation of, if you got approved to come here, you were approved to go to any other carrier. What was that number one thing that differentiated basically your decision to choose Anderson Trucking Service over going to one of the other carriers?
Trucking's in the blood, or we both wouldn't be here. And I'm old school. I hadn't been driving but just a few years, but I'm old school because I grew up with a dad who drove and was out there. And so I was looking for that company that was still had that old school feel, but was modern and treated the driver, modern. And as I was looking, my first opportunity to become a lease operator, there was other companies I was looking at that might pay a little bit more than you guys do on the scale or whatever it may be. But as I was looking at the other things, there were some hidden things that I felt like were kind of snuck in there to that and feel that way with you guys. And also, a lot of them were, hey, we can get you in a truck right away. We can do virtual one-day orientation. And I'm like, I've never done it on this side before. I've always been the company driver, so I want to learn as much as I can. So I don't want to just rush through it. And I really appreciated the fact that I knew I was going to be here at least 3 days, or 2.5, 3 days, maybe even 4, to learn as much as I could in order to be successful.
You're here for 4 days.
Yeah, I'm here for 4 days. So, that's one thing that Holly stressed, the recruiter, and other people stressed, that our goal is to make you successful. Because if you're successful, we'll be successful. And so that really impressed me. And then being here, everything, has worked out that way so far.
So since you've been here, what's probably been the biggest thing that has stood out to you that's been different about just the Anderson experience from when you accepted the position to come on board, travel coming in, the hotel, the orientation staff, the presenters? Is there anything that stands out that says this is a different organization versus what you've seen?
Well, it goes back to what I was saying there. There was that concern that we really were having our needs taken care of as far as new people needing to learn, and were we being taken care of? Did we have plenty of time to ask questions? Were we getting all the training? Were we understanding the training? They weren't rushing us through the training and all that. So.
Good. Well, thank you for that. You ready to go up?
Sure.
You guys are the coolest brothers I've ever met. You guys should do this with me for a living.
Yeah.
So same question for you. What was that number one differentiation of choosing us? And don't tell me that you guys follow each other as brothers.
No.
Is that true? I don't believe
We never
that
worked
for a
together
second.
before.
Okay.
Actually, we didn't meet till I was 19 years old.
Okay.
So we just started hanging out in the last 5 or
We're
6
blood,
years.
but we were adopted as kids. So
Yeah.
Got it.
separately.
But we do the same thing because it's in our blood, like
Right.
I said. And I actually hurt my foot last October and I couldn't work, and I was looking for a dispatching job. But they want experienced dispatch, but you need dispatching experience. And I finally gave up, and he called me and said, hey, this company here is pretty dang good. I'm going to go try it out. And I did my research. I looked at 4 other companies, all these operators, and they couldn't answer questions that I was asking them.
Right.
And it was just didn't seem kosher. Then when I got here, what set it apart was I've been at 3 other companies, and you talk to one person the majority of the time at your dispatcher, and that person has to have your interest at heart and has to know what you're willing to do, what's legal to do. And it seems to me here that I'm not going to be asking you something that isn't safe for one, or I like to run for 30 days at 9 hours a day, not 5 days at 11 hours and then sit for 2 days.
Right.
And it seems that's fine because I make more money. You get more money coming in because of that, and it just seems to be a good match between dispatchers and.
So from the
drivers.
presenters, if I'm hearing you right, from the presenters that you talked to here so far, that you are seeing that we try to run you guys, number one, safe. We try not to. I'm the first one to say we don't need to run our drivers 3,000 miles to make a paycheck. Our drivers make very good money running 2,025. 25 is probably a high number. But we dispatch every one of our drivers at 50 miles an hour. So you're not rushing. The only reason that you'd ever be rushed to a load is because of poor planning.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we're going to try to help you guys out with not doing that. So I appreciate that. And so from what you're saying, you've had a lot more interaction instead of just with one person. You're hearing that same message across the board.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well,
And my first company, they actually changed my drive time so I could make it on time. And I didn't want to take it, but he forced me into it. And that's never happened again because I made sure I ain't going to jail for you because that's not right.
Right.
And this company here, it seems to me like it's totally up to me when I run. For one, if I want to make money, I'm going to run, and I'm going to run safely. And they're all cool with that.
yeah. And when my fleet manager called me for the first time today, it wasn't, hey, I'm so and so your fleet manager, and here's how I do things, and blah blah blah. You know, his first thing was, hey, what kind of questions you got for me? I just want to make sure you know me, you understand all this stuff. And I told him, I said, last company I was with, it seemed like it got to the point where the managers were almost begging the planners to give me a load, and I didn't really like that. He said, "Oh, don't worry, they get their pay scale. I'm not gonna go into however it is, but they get their pay, and we get our pay based upon what's on your truck. And so we're gonna make sure your truck is moving with stuff on it. So, I felt like I didn't have to worry about things I used to have to worry about before. So,
I'm hoping that when you guys have come on board, that the majority of the questions that come out are typically on the front are what are your expectations? Not us trying to tell you what ours
yeah,
are.
that was in
No.
the questionnaire that we had to fill out. What do you want from us? And
Nobody
honestly,
asked me.
Nobody ever asked me that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody ever asked me or told me, okay, this is what I need from you. They asked, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
How you want to work? When do you want to go home? Now, my son's in football this year, senior year of high school. So for the next couple of months, I'm gonna be home as much as I can for his games. And they made up front, you want me to kind of money? Yeah, I know, but he's my senior son. But then November, run my butt off.
Right.
So I know the money won't be there the first couple of months because I'm gonna have to go home for every couple of weeks to see for the games.
Yeah.
And they were fine with that, and that's why I came here.
Good. And real quick, I got to divert. So Samantha, you guys, usually you're used to me watching the screen and looking at the questions, but this has been awesome. So Samantha, can you read that for me? It's too far away with my contacts.
As a new driver, I see the ads mentioning a sign-on bonus. What does this pay out?
Yeah. So, and what's the name of the person asking that?
Mike Fox.
Yeah, so Mike, very simple. So I'm going to tell you that we've got different segments. The minimum sign-on bonus that we've got is $1,500, but we've got sign-on bonuses, honestly, that go up to $10,000. I'm going to say for our standard drivers, it's between $15,000 and $3,000, and it's really based on, are you coming in van? If you're coming in flatbed, what kind of experience do you have? So I need to know a little bit more about the experience that you have, but the minimum sign-on bonus is $1,500. The range is typically $15,000 to $3,000, but if you're coming in on our heavy haul side, some of those bonuses can actually go up to $10,000. But I'm going to tell you right now, anybody who's watched these before, I don't like talking about sign-on bonuses. I consider them to be a transition bonus, a transition pay. I like to know that drivers that are making that job change, that they've got some cash flow for those first couple of weeks that they've made that change. I'd rather have them earning a much better living on the freight that you're hauling than to have to be relying on a
The
sign-on
money
bonus.
I can make each week is what got me here. But
Yeah.
we appreciate that. Yeah,
So you guys, with me having 6 of you, I got to keep it to about 10 minutes. Can I ask any final words you'd like to say to anybody out there that's paying attention and trying to make a decision whether or not ATS is where they go or if they're going to go somewhere else?
Well, if anybody's on the fence, you can call and ask my wife. She kept saying, "Are you going to make that decision yet?" And every time I look at something else, I came right back to ATS. And I'm here now, and so I don't think anybody will regret it.
So what I actually just heard you say is have your spouses watch this too, and have your spouses or significant others
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
paying
I think
attention.
both
to
of them are
this
right
stuff.
now.
Oh,
Both
cool.
of ours are watching right now.
Have you said hi to them
yet? Hey, sweetheart.
Hey, honey.
See, now you guys are famous. Good. Anything that you'd like to close with?
this is what I plan on doing for the rest of my career.
Yep.
I don't want to keep going places, but you got to find that one spot that makes you happy and you work well together. And so far, this seems like it'll be it.
Fantastic. Thank you guys both. Seriously.
Thanks,
And to
Joe.
know that you're brothers, and remember, I like guys like you to be my friends because you look like you could watch my back easy.
We got you, Joe.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Driver Appreciation Week.
Thank you.
And so I've got a little bit of a pause waiting for our next couple of guests to come in. So I'm going to have Tanya and Charles join us.
So we got a question. It says, how do I go about mounting a ladder on my truck?
Oh, okay.
Austin Villeneuve.
So I don't mind saying I can get you an answer for that. I will tell you that when it talks about mounting a ladder, when you come into our orientation, we go through securement training. Folks, come on in. I'll give you guys a formal introduction. I'm just answering a couple of questions. But when it comes to mounting a ladder on your truck, when you get here, we have a lot of drivers that we show, because it's really going to be based on where you're putting your tarps, how you're putting your chains on board, and then how you securely get that ladder on board. So I can tell you that I'm not going to show you right now, because listen, we're going to show you how to mount it differently if you're in a Freightliner versus if you're in a Peterbilt versus if you're in a Volvo. It really just depends upon what your setup is at. But I will tell you that if you want to send me a message, a personal message to me, and tell me what kind of truck that you're in and what kind of ladder it is that you're looking at mounting, absolutely, I'd be glad to talk that through a little bit more detail. But it's a little bit too vague of an answer because there's too many variables to that.
So Joe, do you want to finish with the rest of the questions, or do you want to proceed with?
You know what I'm going to do? So Tanya and Charles, right?
Yes.
And do you go by Charles or Chuck?
Most
You never
people
told me.
call me Jay.
Call you what?
Jay.
You didn't tell me that before.
Well,
So Jay, if I'm not mistaken, you're the one who tapped me on the shoulder earlier
Yes.
this week, right? So when I started our live session, Jay is the one that stopped me when I did my initial greeting to say, you know what? The main reason I'm here is because of this live session. And Tanya, she's a very quiet gal from what I've learned. But again, both Tanya and Jay, I'm going to go on, and it's Tanya. I got corrected
It is.
earlier this morning. They basically again volunteered to come. So I want to welcome both of you. Thanks for joining us. But I'm going to have to jump onto a couple of the questions because you know that's what it's all about. And you know I'm going to ask you the two questions,
yeah.
right? So cool. So what do we got over there, Samantha?
All right. So the next one, Joe, when you get time, I got an owner operator that wants to come over and get into blades. That's just a comment.
Okay, is that Mike?
It moved. It's Mike Crowder.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah.
So, hey everybody, my email, easiest the one you can go with. So Mike, you want to send me a quick email on this, but it's just joe@atsinc.com. Drop me a note, and if you need me to reach out to that driver personally or talk to you first, Mike, 100% let me know, okay?
Oh, and then there was, it keeps moving. What happens if you attend orientation but it doesn't work out? Do we pay for your way back?
So I love the question. So listen, we really try to make sure that doesn't happen. So I'll be the first to tell you, you lie to us, we'll get you home on a Greyhound. If it's something else to where it's a physical, whatever it might be, it's something where you got to go home and come on back, we'll always rent you a car. So it really depends upon the reason why you're leaving. If we've told you everything and you got here and just kind of changed your mind and said, hey, you know what, I just don't want to proceed, we won't leave you stranded. But what we do is either we will put you on a Greyhound to get back home. We'll always bring you up on a flight. We'll always rent you a car coming up. But if you're going home voluntarily and it's not because of anything that was dishonest on our part, for whatever reason, if you lie to us, you're going to go home on a Greyhound. But if it's something to where you got to go home and take care of some medical conditions, some kind of a family emergency came up, we're going to absolutely rent you a car to get you back home, and we'll figure out what we're going to do from there. So it really depends on what the circumstances are. But the beautiful news is usually the only drivers that are leaving ATS during orientation are drivers that are leaving because they got disqualified during the orientation process. Work verifications came back that took them out of guidelines. But if it's something medical related, we're going to absolutely give you the red carpet getting back home because we absolutely want to have you come back once you've taken care of all of that. So hopefully that answers your question. What else we got, Samantha?
Let's get to our guests.
Okay, cool. And now the good news is, everybody, is if you put a question out there, it will get answered. 100% of them will get answered. It just depends upon are we going to be able to do it live, or are we just going to be responding to it and you're just going to have to watch it on the postseason. So love everything that I'm seeing coming through so far. So Who wants to go first? Jay or Tanya? Ladies first. Okay.
That's what I was about to say.
So, Tanya, the same question I asked the previous two drivers that joined us is you guys volunteered. I came in and just said, is anybody interested? And you guys, your hands went up right away. You know my audience. You guys have seen our ATS lives in the past. What I'd like you to do is just in your own words. Number one, why did you volunteer?
Because it feels like home already. It's been 3 days, and it feels like home. It feels like where I want to spend the rest of my career.
That's beautiful. That
That's
really
it.
is. How about for you? I mean, what made you tap me on the shoulder when I was walking out of the building the other day?
Well, the thing of it is that, you know, a lot of companies will tell you everything that they want you to hear to get you to come to them. And watching the live feeds and stuff like that, watching everybody put in questions and you answer them regardless of if it'd be helpful or not, or make a driver not want to come because it's the truth or something like that. You know, all that stuff, you know, means something. Then, you know, you got that chance that, you know, you can move up in the company as far as, you know, if you want to drive flatbed, if you want to drive a van, you know, you can actually work yourself all the way up to the 15 and 19 axle trailers, you know, and actually be able to potentially make more money and just keep on going and growing with the company instead of just staying with one certain trailer.
Right. Awesome. Good. So the question I'm going to go back to you then is, when you were making your decision, knowing that you could go anywhere, why did you pick ATS?
A lot of it had to do with what I saw in my research, which was just the environment, and then getting here and finding out that what the recruiter was saying, you've proven it.
That's awesome.
That's
So that kind of answers my second question I was going to ask of what's been the biggest thing that has stood out for you, Tanya, since you've got here of what has been different than any other experience you've had with another
it's
carrier?
what the recruiter told me is what I found out. You guys have said the same thing throughout, from recruitment through classes.
Awesome. Good. Jay?
Well, that y'all do everything you can to make sure that we're comfortable. You know, we get to the hotel, you know, y'all basically pay for our way up here, including the fuel. Like if they rent you a car, they'll pay for your fuel up here. You don't have to come out without no out-of-pocket expense to drive up here. They pay for your fuel. That's done. And then, you know, they'll feed you lunch, they'll feed you dinner, and they try to make sure that they keep you just as comfortable as possible. And everything that my recruiter said was true. I mean, he didn't try to hurry up, rush me off the phone or anything like that. He actually sat there and had a decent conversation with me just so he could make me feel more comfortable as I came up here.
Awesome. Awesome. And let me ask you, has anybody bunked together?
No.
No. And I don't think any of you guys brought your spouses with, but obviously one of the things that we do that we're proud of is that we pay for spouses to come or significant others. So you guys, and again, because of time, I mean, I'm just blessed to have so many of you guys say that you wanted to join us to tell your own stories. Anything else that you feel that's important to share with a driver who's on the fence of ATS versus something else? Anything just, and again, you guys need to remember, neither one of these drivers have been with us before and they're just in orientation. So that's what makes me so proud. But anything else that you think is important for a driver considering ATS to know about?
I love the fact that it's still in the same family, and that they actually will tell you that history and go through who's related to who in that family and where it started. That's awesome.
It is a fun part of the presentation, yes. Thank you, Tanya.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't micromanage you. You know, you're adults. You can actually do what you need to do. You know, if you drive 3 days and then all of a sudden on the third day you deliver the load, you don't feel good, take a day off. Relax. You know, get feeling better. You know, they're not going to micromanage you. They're not going to say you can't do this, you know, if you don't feel good. They're not going to force you to take a load if you're hanging out the side of the truck for hours on end.
That's awesome. Good. You guys, I couldn't be more blessed, like I said. And to the two of you, so I said it to all the other drivers earlier, but again, happy Driver Appreciation Week. Sorry that you guys had to be in orientation for it, but at least you get to participate in our festivities, and you guys are really, really close to being on board and going to make some money. So, yes, sir. All right. Thank you both.
Thank you.
I sure appreciate it. I really do. Sam, any other questions we need to get caught up on real quick?
So Andrew Greco ask, what about home time? Do you require trailers to be back at a terminal? I'm planning on leasing.
So, so that's a trailer question, if I'm not mistaken. And you guys come on in.
Yep, come on in.
So Ethan and Nicholas, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
All right. So gentlemen, I'm going to answer a couple of questions here real quick.
No.
God, you make me small. You make me feel really small. You want to stand over here, Bobby? No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking. You need to be front and center. I need your backing. So the question was, as far as taking the trucks home and the trailers. So we are an over-the-road trucking company. We've got a couple of pockets for regional. What I will tell you is that when you come on board with ATS, one of the coolest things that we get our compliments on is that we get to know where you live right away. And we're going to help you make sure that you're finding the proper parking so you and your truck and trailer can park safely. If we've got a terminal nearby, great, but you go home with the truck. And a lot of times we're going to end up having you finish a load, have you go through the house where you're just deadheading and then go back to a trailer. But if you've got a trailer with you or you're swinging through the house under a load, your fleet manager is actually going to help you find a place to park as well. So yes, you are allowed to take it through the house with you. Samantha, I need to count on you because my contacts are not doing good reading that far away.
That's okay. Well, do you want another question?
How many more we got up there? I just don't know how far behind we're getting.
About 20, but I have your recruiters working on answering them.
Okay, good.
So-
Well, I'm going to keep going. So you guys stay patient with me because I'm telling you right now, if you're online, that we will answer 100% of the questions. And even after our guests are done, I can stick around. But guess what? You guys are stuck because I'm your shuttle driver. Aren't I? Huh?
Yep.
So yeah, I didn't share that story with everybody yet. So Ethan and Nicholas, welcome. Number
Thank
one,
you.
so you're the last two of the six.
Yep.
And again, I've never done this before, so I'm kind of winging it, but it's been going really good so far. But I wanted to say first, thank you for volunteering.
Yep.
And the question I was asking the other four that came through is, just tell the group, did you volunteer to even join me tonight? You're not even contracted drivers with us yet, and you're still in our orientation. So in your own words, why are you here?
You know, I do a lot of research because when I started with my first company, did a lot of research, chose that company. I needed to step up. I thought I needed some more challenges, so I started, doing the process, going out, looking, seeing what was out there. And the freight that ATS offers and everything, I thought there were some challenging things for me and things that I could do. But a lot of the stuff too was I started getting on the live here and seeing the questions that, a lot of people, you try to type into YouTube, you try to type into Google, and it's a plethora of information and it's hard to find. But this right here is what really sold me, was questions were being answered. The recruiters were in here, you're in here, you're bringing everybody from everywhere in to answer questions. And it was just so nice to be able to just have one spot where you can go each week and have a question, get it answered, or several hundred questions and get them answered at one time.
So your opinion, we shouldn't stop doing this, right?
No. I think this is one of the best things. I think, as far as like people, when you're trying to put your brand and your company out there, I think it's a great idea, especially with the way the world's going now in social media. And this is perfect for a lot of people because everybody has a cell phone. Everybody has a cell phone. So, even if you don't have a computer, you can still watch this and get your questions answered.
Good. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I liked just hearing it straight from drivers and straight from people that are here doing it. Like literally a week ago, I was on Facebook Live watching people do the same thing, and so I'm not like an actor or anything. So it's just good to be able to answer questions and keep the transparency.
Fantastic work, and I appreciate it. And we work very hard, and the one thing I pride myself on is that there's not a question that gets thrown at us that we try to shove off. Some people are going to get turned off by ATS because of the answer. We'd rather have that happen now than have them get here and find out, because the truth always comes out, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So the one question, when you guys both knew that you could go to any trucking company in the nation, and you made your final decision to come to ATS, what was that one differentiation that made you say, ATS is where I'm going?
I'd have to say, like Ethan said, transparency. When I talked to Robbie, my recruiter, he had a complete, it was a conversation. It wasn't, he was selling the company, doing what he was supposed to be doing, but it felt like home. It was like I was talking to somebody that I hadn't talked to in years, and he was saying, yeah, come on, this is what we got, this is what we got. And he wasn't trying to force you into it. He was just explaining what they have and everything he said and everybody I've met this week. I mean, everything that Robbie said to this week and everybody I've met, it's all been exactly what he said. And it's not been faltered from the line. So that's what really sold me.
Love it. Thank you.
I like how there's a big sense of community here, and it seems like everyone it's really, well, they call it driver centered or what
Driver centric.
Yeah, driver centric.
Yep.
And it just makes us feel like we're important. We're not just another cog in the wheel type thing.
Good. Good. So the experience, if you were to pick out the one thing, I know you guys have both kind of mentioned it a little bit, but if you really were to call out the one thing that has been different with your experience with Anderson Trucking since you've gotten to orientation versus the companies that you worked for prior, what would it be?
You got apparel that fits a big guy like me.
Buddy, yeah, we do.
So no, that was I saw it today, and that was a big thing. I was like, "What? There's stuff that fits? What? Okay." So no, that's part of it. Yeah, I mean,
I hope you got that one for the real reason.
No, it was nice to see that, but no, like I said, the transparency and everything, and just everything, and everybody's been completely nice. From the Andersons coming down and taking their time out to come talk to you during orientation. I mean, you're talking about guys that are presidents of the company and CEOs and all that stuff, and they come down and take 15 minutes. It's just 15 minutes out of their day, but to see somebody like that come down and actually take 15 minutes out of their day to say, hey, I want to say hi to you drivers. You're working with me. You're working for my company. I want to say hi. And that's priceless. I mean,
Awesome.
just to see that, to see somebody take 15 minutes out of their day. That was really nice this week during orientation.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I agree 100%.
For me,
Ethan?
it was just the thoroughness of the orientation. Like previous places I worked for, they'd have like a safety meeting, but they'd talk for like 5 minutes and be like, "Don't do this, don't do that, go back to work." But you guys are just really thorough, and you explain everything and answer any questions that we had. And I'm really not leaving here with any questions or like wondering what's gonna happen or what's going on.
That's
You guys
awesome.
covered pretty much everything.
Well, we have a statement that's called truth in driving, and what that is that we want to ensure that everything from the first time that a driver talks to us all the way through their first 90 days as a driver. So it's not just orientation, but it's that first 90 days that there's no disconnects within the 37 people that you've got to get to know, from your fleet manager to settlements and your insurance and HR and all of those things. So
Yep.
I'm really glad to hear that. So you guys, just because of the sake of time, and I've got a lot of questions, if there's one thing, knowing that I'm talking to to drivers that are considering ATS over other companies, if there's one thing that you'd want them to just be aware of out of your own words, any piece of advice for them?
Don't hesitate. Call the recruiter. Call them and talk to them. Robbie, all of them in there. My recruiter, Robbie, awesome guy. I mean, just give them a call. Don't think, that just watching these. Definitely just give them a call. They'll talk to you. They'll do whatever they need to do. They'll answer your questions as well. So just don't hesitate. Just pick up that phone and dial. I mean, that's all I can say is.
You want to be a recruiter with me? No, kidding. How about you, Ethan? No, thank you for that.
Yes.
No, pretty much that it's not too good to be true. I know some things kind of seem like that, like, oh, they're going to fly me out here and buy me dinner and stuff, but it's, you guys really just care, and you're trying to get the best drivers.
That's
and
awesome.
You can tell that.
Thank you. Again, what all 6 of you guys have said has meant a lot. So guys, what I'm going to do is say Happy Driver Appreciation Week. We're going to have fun celebrating with you. Again, thanks for volunteering to come and join us today. And again, I've never done this format before, and I've never ignored questions, because here I call it ATS Ask Us Anything, and I'm not answering questions, but I am going to jump down to a few of these. So you guys go out and relax.
No
I'll be out there
problem.
shortly.
Thank you. No
And thank you both, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You betcha. Okay, so Samantha, I've got to kind of get on key here. So
Yep.
I'm going to just stand on the side here, and you're going to kind of tell me where we're at.
I'm gonna have you scoot a little bit towards the middle
Sure.
of the table. Thank you. So Markeisha, we are really sorry. We're trying to keep up with comments, but it looks like they are coming in a little too fast. So one of your questions is it possible to make minimum $10,000 a month as a new driver?
10,000 a month, 100%. We've got drivers now. I don't know if you're looking at being a company driver or a contractor, but I'll tell you that we absolutely have got drivers making more than that. So in a fairness, you're going to get as much as you work. So it's not, if you're out there to go to work, and if you're out there 2 to 3 weeks at a time, and you're running hard and you're not turning down freight, I can tell you right now that our company drivers are probably in that $1,500 to $2,100 range on a weekly settlement basis. Our contractors are probably in that 20, probably 23 to 35. The numbers change a little bit, but right now our range is probably it's 6 figures for our company drivers, and it's probably about 170 to 180,000 for our contractors. So if you're wanting to go to work, I'll never guarantee anything because it's a matter of how hard you work. Do we have the majority of our drivers making that much money? 100% yes. So if you're coming to work, market conditions stay the way they are, absolutely. What else we got, Samantha?
Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
All right. Luckily, our recruiters are on top of it. They've gotten to most of them, so I'll make sure that we didn't miss anything. Markeisha replied with, I make that at where I am, and I want to make more at a better work environment. So.
Okay, so what I'll tell you is a lot of drivers in the industry today are doing very well. So you had asked me a question, and so we believe that we've got a very stable work environment. So I guess I would ask the question is, have you been making that for the last 12 to 18 months, every single month? And so if the answer is yes, maybe you need to stay where you're at, or maybe it's worth making a transition to make the same amount of money but have a better work environment. So I guess I'm trying to be very open with you on there are options. Probably having a conversation to talk through who you're with. I don't really care what the company name is, but what are you hauling? How long are you out? How long have you been driving? Are you a lease operator? Are you looking to come in company? So reach out to us at driveforats.com, and one of my recruiters absolutely will get into detail, but we can meet and exceed that. But again, you'll have to make the decision whether you think it's time for a change, or maybe it's best for you to just stay where you're at. So, but we'd love the opportunity to chat with you. This is probably not the environment to get into all the details, but until we get to know you a little bit more specifically, we'd love that opportunity, okay?
All right, so Joshua, I'm sorry, I'm not going to try to say your last name right now, but you said that my dad drives for you guys. Can I go with him in the truck in the summer?
Well, so if you want, are you talking about with teaming? So if you want to become a second seat driver, guys, these are great questions. And remember, if we get off track a little bit here, as far as if I'm not hearing the question right, my email is joe@atsinc.com. I think Samantha put it out there earlier. But if your dad wants you to drive with him, that's a key question first. But if your dad wants to work with you as a second seat driver, that's an option if you've got a CDL. If you want to go with as a passenger, we've got a passenger policy for sure. And so I'm not sure if you're talking about can I drive with him or just ride with him. And either one of those choices are available if your dad wants to do that.
Sean Morris, hi Joe, please tell me I won't see New York City.
So I'll tell you what, my recruiter should already be responding to that, but if I had 100 drivers with me today, 99 of the 100 would say, I do not want to go to New York City or the boroughs. And the one driver that would say yes is the guy that lives in New York City or the boroughs. So as long as you say I don't want to see New York State, you're good to go. But listen, 9 out of 10 drivers tell us that they do not want to get in the cities and the borough, and we are absolutely good with that.
Woo, you guys, busy in the comments.
This is good.
Yep. New York City's never required. How to speak with lease on drivers about help not being financially ruined, not spending too much on fuel. That one's a little hard to follow, so I'll have a recruiter maybe respond to that one after the live stream.
And you guys, again, and so for all my recruiters that are actually online helping, we've got a great audience that's come on there. These questions are fantastic. And again, this was kind of a spontaneous guest tonight, which I'm very pleased and happy about. But any questions that are out there, we will reach out to you. What I would encourage you to do, though, is pay attention to your messages, because some of these questions are pretty detailed, and we want to get into them. But when they're a little bit vague, I can only answer them the way that I'm interpreting them. And as you can see, I'm not trying to talk around them, but sometimes these need a little bit more, being a little bit more specific on what the question actually is. So.
And to clarify, Joshua was asking about riding with his dad because he's 15. Like, just to.
Oh yeah. So if you're so listen, we have minors riding with their parents. all the time under a passenger pass. So you have to be 10 years old, and there's a couple of requirements as a minor. But as long as you're 10 years old and all the other requirements are met, riding along with your dad, again, if he wants you to, is absolutely something we do here, okay? So I hope that works out for you guys.
While we're firing out questions, Markeisha had another really good one. Is there hazard pay for the winter months?
No, there's not. And frankly, I love those kind of questions. But listen, the pay is based on basically the freight conditions. And so at the end of the day, so I'm looking up at the screen. I guess I got to look at more at the camera. So keeps throwing those questions out at me, young lady, because I'm what's the proper pronunciation?
Markeisha, I believe. And
Markeisha?
sorry if I got that wrong.
So realistically, if there's weather, we can't control inclement weather, and so if we got a customer that's got a load from us going from California to Buffalo, New York, or to Maryland, and a snowstorm comes through, it's going to be basically whatever the rate was that you were given. The cool part is that the rates we get, you don't need to be worrying about that. And some of the drivers, if you're coming contractor, some of the snowy conditions, you kind of let us know what regions you'd really rather stay out of if you can. But no, there's not a hazardous specifically increase for weather conditions because it's too inclement and out of our control. But what we will do is make sure you're not running unsafe. Our company will be the first company to tell you that if the weather's bad, if you think you need to put chains on your truck, we want you to pull over. You will never see us encouraging anybody to ever drive where you think you got to throw chains on. And if you're not feeling safe, the second thing is we'll tell you to pull over. And some of our drivers are actively online right now. I'd love for you guys to pitch in on that because I don't think people really believe that we say that. But if in doubt, we're going to tell you to pull over. There's a statement we say that there's no load so hot that's not going to cool off in the ditch. And the time it gets in the ditch is during inclement weather and making bad decisions. So hopefully that helps.
Really nice comment by Laura. She said, my husband has driven for you guys for years. Thank you for what you've been doing for him and your driver families.
Well, thank you guys. And again, Driver Appreciation Week is not just for our drivers. It is absolutely for their families, their spouses, for the folks making sacrifices at home. So thank you so much for that comment. But the thanks goes back home to you guys.
Another really awesome comment by Paul Hoover. I quit back in January and I came back in April. Leaving was the biggest mistake I ever made.
Love having you back, Paul.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, and you guys, we really did fall behind on comments. So just kind of allow us to get through some of this pregnant pause for us to get caught up here. But I really felt that having our guests on and having a little chat with them was important.
Good news. These are nice comments, guys. Thank you. Is there a waiting period on the rider program as far as to a time frame of being with the company?
Yeah, so great question. No, yeah, there's a waiting period. As soon as the driver that's coming on board is certified, and as soon as I sign that piece of paperwork, that's the waiting period. So the good news is no, you don't need to wait. You can ride. They can ride. We allow spouses to come up with their drivers into orientation, and once the driver is certified, that spouse or companion can actually leave orientation in the truck as a rider. So that's one of the reasons we actually encourage that, because we want the folks involved in the family to know every detail about the orientation of what their husband or wife is doing with us. And so, yeah, so there's no waiting period on the rider policy.
Andrew asked, for flatbed equipment, can we finance some of the equipment if we already have most of our own?
Okay, so if you're talking about like tarps, chains, straps, we've got a list that we can send you in advance of what's required. And there's a certain grade chain and so forth. So if you've got that equipment, as long as our safety department can inspect it and confirm that the quality is what we expect, 100% you can do that. Now, when we have drivers coming in, company drivers, obviously there's no cost. As a contractor, we actually finance that for you, and you're not going to find financing cheaper. But if you've got this stuff, we don't know what you've got until we see it, but there is a certain standard and a complete list that we can give you of exactly what you need to have on the truck with you at all times. So there is opportunity there, yes.
Okay, Paul is being a rock star. So one more question.
Paul, I just hope you're answering all the questions right, but I'll take a look at those a little bit later on.
So Andrew, again, asked, how long do you think it would take you to pass through the house after orientation to pick up equipment, pets, etc.
Okay, so we don't want drivers coming up here with everything, including the kitchen sink. So we try to get you home within the first load, if not the second load. The priority is, it may not be on the very first load, but for sure by the second load. We want you to not pack everything so we can route you through the house as soon as we can. Most of the time, you're getting through the house typically within a week after orientation. We don't guarantee it. We hate using that word, but it's pretty close to that.
So is everything checked and verified before traveling to orientation?
Well, everything that we can get in. So here's one of the things we have. And Samantha, there's a flashing light. Is that an issue with the microphone? Okay, cool. So great question. What I'll tell you is this. If we had to wait for every work verification, the only thing that would come back that could possibly interfere with you coming into orientation is when you quit your job and you say, yes, ATS, go ahead and get work verifications. We get your written authorization to reach out to your past employers over the last 3 years. They've got 30 days for what the DOT allows for them to respond. And so if you quit today and you want to be in class Monday, and you've got a company that you've worked for that doesn't get back to us right away, they take the full 30 days. Most companies get back to us right away, but that would be something that I can't control. And if all of a sudden we get a verification that comes back that said you had an accident that you didn't disclose to us, or you abandoned a truck that you didn't tell us about, yeah, that's going to be a problem for us. And also we do run criminal background checks, and we have a couple items within our guidelines to where if your criminal background check has not been returned yet and something comes back that's out of our guidelines, then that could be a problem. And the best thing to do, I encourage you to do, is if that's a concern of yours, when you're talking to your recruiter, ask them specifically what is not back specifically, and we can tell you real time of what we're still waiting on, and then you'll have to decide if you're concerned whether something's going to come back that would be a problem or not. Okay? So hopefully that answers your question.
Nice. Let's make this the last question of the night. You guys had awesome comments. Thank you very much. So James asked, say there are more people in orientation than there are trucks. How would that work as far as waiting?
Yeah, so that's a great question too. What I love about the questions you guys are asking tonight is they're really legitimate questions. So we really try not to schedule drivers unless we've got trucks for them. So Anderson Trucking Service is proud to say that we don't have very many trucks empty. So if I've got 10 trucks to lease, we bring in 10 drivers. And sometimes a truck might be delayed. And if a driver comes into orientation, they're always going to be able to select a truck and have at least 2 truck options to select from. What I will tell you though is we never guarantee a truck. We tell you what's in our inventory, and we don't know if it's going to be 2 Peterbilts or 2 Coronados or 2 Volvos. They could both be 2019s. I'm not sure, but you'll have 2 choices. And if there is a truck delay that you come to orientation and that truck is not ready for you when the orientation is completed, we actually pay you $150 a day delay pay. We put you up in the hotel and everything until that truck is done for every day that you wait. So there are times when there's a delay, but usually we try to plan how many drivers are coming in against how many trucks we have available to offer right away. So folks, great questions. I didn't start this out like I normally do for all of our ATS drivers, though. Thanks for joining. Driver Appreciation Week. All I've got to say is thank you very, very much. Looking at the wrong camera, but good deal. Thank you, Samantha. But again, happy Driver Appreciation Week. Thanks for everything all of you do. Great questions. If questions did not get answered, I've got a great team online watching these, so we will respond to 100% of these. Please, if there's any doubt or something didn't get answered, my personal email is joe@atsinc.com. We're ATS, folks. DriveForATS.com is where you find out more. Join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. for the ATS Live Ask Us Anything. And thanks for joining us tonight. Happy Driver Appreciation Week.